The pancreas also releases two enzymes. We'll call them the trypsin brothers, because the trypsin brothers, one's called trypsin and one's called chymotrypsin, and their role is to finalise the breakdown of protein. Remember where protein digestion began? It began in the stomach under the action of pepsin. So that starts the breakdown of the protein, but when it comes into the duodenum, the trypsin brothers, they finalise the protein digestion. I've got some good news, it's not going to get any more difficult. And what we're starting to do now, we're moving down through the small intestine, and halfway down the small intestine, all our nutrients are absorbed, if they've had that effective breakdown. All that should be left after that coming down here is insoluble fibre. And that insoluble fibre is important, as we will see when we get into the colon. But what I'd like to do now is I want to show you what happens in what we call the grand finale of digestion. This is the small intestine. The small intestine is lined with villi, looking like little fingers actually. And that villi has a blood capillary network all the way through it. So I'm going to, hopefully this will work. I'm just getting to know this. Yes, we've got blood. There's the blood capillary network that is all through the little capillaries. Now remember I said to you that anything that goes into our gastrointestinal tract is not part of you or me until it gets broken down to tiny particles. Then it becomes part of you and me when it gets absorbed into the blood. But lining the villi is a thick turf wall, and that thick turf wall is made of Lactobacillus acidophilus and bifidus bacterium, called our microbiome. And when we were in our mother's utero, our gut was sterile, no bacteria there. But when we were born, we were literally showered with our mother's microorganisms. And those microorganisms, Lactobacillus acidophilus, bifidus bacterium, they're the two permanent ones, and from them all the thousands of others are made. And these microorganisms are responsible for the final breakdown of our food. But didn't the breakdown happen with our enzymes? It certainly did. But these microorganisms, they're responsible for the release of our B vitamins. These microorganisms are responsible for the production of melatonin. And as we'll find out later in the week, melatonin is an important hormone that helps us sleep at night. These microorganisms are also important in the production of glutathione. And glutathione is a very potent antioxidant, called the most potent antioxidant. These microorganisms are also responsible for the absorption of the nutrients out of our gut and into our blood. These microorganisms are also important for the nourishment of the cells that line the gastrointestinal tract. These microorganisms play another role. They protect the blood against any harmful pathogens that may be in the gut. You might have heard the quote of Hippocrates, called the father of medicine. He said, all disease begins in the gut.